Hello, I'm Jakub Milovanovic, and Tomas is here with me to help me present to you guys my favorite design rule, golden repair. I'm a technology infrastructure manager and a senior software app developer at Smolco. I take a tremendous amount of pride in working as a FileMaker developer, and it's an honor to be speaking today at the AutoEnter to the Claris community. My road with FileMaker started around 7 years ago. I was mesmerized by the platform that I even got my first FileMaker certificate before I turned 19. At the time, I was finishing school for a medical technician's degree. I was happy with going to a university and becoming a doctor down the line. All that changed when I started learning about software development. On a suggestion from my mother, I went to a software development company and asked Milan Mujovic to keep me around so I could see how software development looks. Milan accepted and mentored me together with Smolco. As you can all see, I'm not a doctor now, so I think you can all imagine how the rest of the story goes. My colleagues, Albert Herm Alvarez and Ross Martier, have just presented on the Smolco work rules. This is the brand new curriculum for the Design Masterclass, which returns this autumn in New York and this winter in Miami at the Smolco Design Retreat on the Caribbean island at Vieques. Stay tuned for the opportunity to earn a free Design Masterclass. The work rules are a great way for cross-skilled teams to share a way to talk about difficult and contentious issues. Here's a slide from Rosie and Alberto's deck showing the inside lingo that various team members use. Notice how amazingly quickly my project colleagues' eyes will glaze over if I start talking about anti-fragility. In the new work rules, we've got a set of powerful yet very common terms that are purposely not obscure and purposely familiar. Even if they are often quite sophisticated, even if they're quite deep, for everyone who's joining us on this conference, you will have a chance to help us with finishing the design rules, and also some of you will have a chance of winning a free ticket to the Design Masterclass with the new work rules. I would like to share my absolute favorite work rule from our Design Masterclass. Golden repair. It represents my love for bugs and perfection through imperfection. As a self-proclaimed Japanese culture lover, I was always amazed by the art of kintsukuroi, a philosophy of highlighting cracks and errors and all imperfections by using them to evolve and take something fixed to the next level in strength and design. Ernest Hemingway wrote that we are strong in all of our broken places. Just like a bone that is broken heals thicker and stronger, in the same way a well-managed bug fix workflow can see bug reports for what they truly are. A priceless resource for strengthening code right where it's the weakest. Look at the amazing prosthetic leg in this photo. It's such an inspiring example of this tech world we live in. When we lose a part of our body, we have the chance to repair with a substitute that is superior to the original. It's actually miraculous. The truth is, bug repairing gives us the chance to create the same magic in our own apps. Let me further explain. Many of us here deal with bugs all the time. Some are small bugs that don't create any significant issues, and some are feature breaking, or in the worst case, solution breaking bugs. Both of these cases have one thing in common. Our approach to fixing them can vary by the day. Anyone who has ever worked in a position where they are required to work with buggy code has had one of these days. You're just drinking your coffee or any preferred drink and reading something online or just communicating with your colleagues when a bug comes in. Even before you know what's happening, your mind is already on its way to avoid actually fixing the issue by just patching it up quickly and moving on. On the other side, we also have these days. The weather is nice outside, the first meeting of the day is done, and it's time to do some coding. A bug comes in and you start fixing the issue. But you then notice that instead of just patching up the issue to be done with it as quickly as you can, you could take your time and not just fix the issue with the code, but actually improve the code. One of these includes golden repair, one does not. Be my guest to figure out which one. Fixing and avoiding bugs does not just include actively fixing code. It involves proper naming, documentation, and above all, a proper mindset. If you get all these concepts down, your code will have fewer bugs and become something we at Smallco call anti-fragile code. So what is so great about anti-fragile code? In order to answer the question, let's first go over what fragile means. Take a box of wine glasses as an example. The glasses are packed thoughtfully, but still the box has a sticker saying fragile. When you drop that box, you will hear a crash inside, and if someone would come along and fall over it or kick it, you would have even more crashing. Basically, the more you abuse the box, the more glasses will break. Okay, so now let's continue down the ladder. The next would be resilient. An excellent example of resilience would be something most of us have used, a car. As we all know, roads are not perfect, far from it actually. Over the lifespan of a car, it will drive over many potholes and road imperfections and keep going. It will break down many times, but eventually it will need replacement parts and maintenance. It does not get better the more you drive it, but it will take a lot of wear and tear before it goes down or becomes too expensive to maintain. And at that point, it's just way more efficient to buy a new car. Finally, at the end of our ladder, we have anti-fragile. For anyone here familiar with martial arts, this might ring a bell. Humans are intrinsically anti-fragile. Fighters who train from a young age, by the time they have become masters, have probably sustained thousands of microfractures. Each time they hit a plank of wood or a striking pole, their bones sustain minor fractures. And each time those same bones heal, they become stronger. We are not just individually antifragile. Humans as a species are antifragile. Our whole immune system is based on fighting off various threats and adapting to them, then passing those improvements to our offspring. So antifragile code means that the code can easily be modified, changed, adjusted in case of a bug or in case of a change in purpose, and that the code will only get better the more we alter it or abuse it. Let's move to an example in nature. We have the live oak. The live oak does not consider the hurricane winds to be in any way a problem. The tree takes every advantage of those powerful and potentially destructive winds to do what the tree cannot do by itself, which is to crack open the bedrock and reach for the water table. Great software houses do not in any way consider bug reporting to be a problem that needs to be eliminated. The bug reports come from a process that no matter how well the software house tests, they could never do on their own. Bugs are a gift. And if nature can acknowledge the issues or bugs as tools of improvement, so can we. For me, that's the philosophy that Repair represents. Developing software is a craft. The more time and passion you invest into it, the better you will become. It might sound crazy, but it's not that different from creating pottery or forging a sharp blade or a durable tool. As companies grow and the amount of scope of projects and the amount and scope of projects increases, the thought of just patching something up quickly becomes more and more appealing. In the long run, this can have disastrous consequences. For all the seniors out there who are mentoring new developers, always encourage them to take time with bugs and see if they could use the chance to improve something and not just fix the bug. In our company, we had a recent example of how proper software development or bug fixing workflow can lead to having anti-fragile code. My colleague Anya Stojanovic, a brilliant FileMaker developer, worked with me on integrating a time tracking logging module with an accounting system. The original idea was to basically use the REST API abilities and integrate the system that way. For the initial integration went quite well, but we had multiple disasters literally at the finish line. While reviewing work with the client, our project manager noticed that the client mentioned Saturday pay, something that we did not have. So he asked if the employees would log time on Saturday and Sunday, and he got a positive answer. The problem stems from the fact that the original scope was based on the 5 workday week. And as if that wasn't enough, near the end of the development phase, the support team from the accounting software firm notified our project manager that the required field was missing in the accounting software and that they miscommunicated that they had the field. They accepted the responsibility for the mistake, and our client was fully aware that the issue didn't come from our side, but the damage was done without the field. Most of the API integration was not usable, so we were in a lot of trouble. The client had to change to the new accounting software in a few days. For that to be possible, we would need to add the weekend as a potential workday and go from pushing the data with an API to exporting the data to Excel in a particular format. Initially, we were thinking of telling the client that we couldn't make that deadline. But after reviewing the code, it turned out that the scripts we made were completely modular, and we did not have to rework them. Around 70% of that code was reused. We even managed to optimize the code a bit more. I'll stop bragging now and tell you what happened next. But before that, I'll show you some examples and try to explain a bit more because this is all fairly vague. So now we are going into specifics, and we're actually going to review what happens with the code itself. As you can see here, we have a few of similarly named script procedures. You can call them any way, it's what it is. So we have export last week's time card to Excel, and then as an example of the API-based procedure, we have sync last week's time card to Acumatica. That's, by the way, that's the name of the accounting software. Here's an example of the script that ended up going to production. As you can see, we are just preparing the data, basically some logic to check what type of data it is, what type of a time entry it is. And here's an example. Here's an example of a similar script that was used for the API procedure. You'll notice that both of these scripts are almost identical, if not identical. And that's because they were built to prepare data. We, we don't really build scripts anymore, which are just built for as one single purpose, the scripts that can't be repurposed most of the time. Here's a few more examples. So in this script, you can see there's a loop. We are calling two scripts. One will prepare the data. One will actually sync the additional expenses. That's a special type of a time entry or an expense. And in the next script, which is actually the Excel-based one, you'll notice that the structure is quite similar with just some added lines for clearing variables. The integration was a success. We had a couple of more bugs, but nothing major. The team gathered for our weekly meeting to check how everyone did during the week. As we were talking about the events related to the integration, one of our seniors commented on how amazing it is that the scripts could be repurposed and adjusted so well. The thing is, we did not expect to get any special praise for the script. We did not think it was special until our colleagues reacted that way. Then it dawned on us that we did not think too much of it because that way of coding became ingrained into us. We just did it. It wasn't anything special anymore. It took us years and God knows how many fixes to get to a point where the code we write does not get replaced, but instead reused. As you can guess, proper naming, script structuring, commenting, and code that was made with the insight of many previous fixes made such a rework possible. All of that comes from golden repair philosophy. You have genuinely mastered bug fixing when you can move bug fixes from one script to another, even before the bugs happen. Although you can never truly master software development, you can always work towards it. To have perfection, you have to have an imperfection. And that is the beauty of golden repair. This philosophy doesn't just apply to coding, it applies to every critical part of software development. For a designer, a complaint from a user is a goldmine that provides rare insight into how the UI is performing for regular, non-tech savvy people or those more inclined toward tech who might expect more from the UI or the workflow that they are using. Like coders who often have an option just to patch something up and not deal with the core issue, the designers always have an option to cave in and just provide what the user wants, even if it might not be the best solution. Or they can spend more time and figure out what's causing the workflow, well, to not flow. The button or feature that everyone requested not to be used. And these fixes can range from a simple change of adding an address next to the job site name for easier identification to deciding that the whole workflow, look, and feel of the module need to be changed. Everything that we have discussed here basically leads us to the same conclusion. It's much better to take your time and always look to improve the work you've done than just fix it and make it stay above the water. With every bug you fix, your skill grows, which means in the end of the day that you will probably have less bugs in the future or that they will become easier and easier to repair. I would like to thank everyone here for listening to my English, which is not perfect in any sense. And I apologize to everyone. My memory skills are not really perfect. And this is my first presentation of this type. So thank you for bearing with me. I invite you all once again to help us improve design rules and help us master them ourselves. For all the people here, if you join and follow the link or the barcode, you will get a chance to get free masterclass tickets. Thank you.